Hello everyone, this video goes through the story of The Last of Us 1 and 2. In 2013, Joe, a single father, lives in Austin with his 12-year-old daughter Sarah. On the night of his birthday, a sudden outbreak of a very severe brain infection originating from an unknown fungus rapidly spreads throughout the United States. As Joe and Sarah meet up with his brother Tommy, they attempt to flee the area. Joe and Sarah are briefly separated from Tommy as they are attacked by the infected people. They too encounter a soldier who is ordered to shoot them. Though the soldier is killed by Tommy and Joe survives the attack with minor injuries, but Sarah was fatally wounded and dies in Joe's arms. 20 years later, Joe is now a smuggler in a post-apocalyptic society in a Boston quarantine zone with his partner and friend Tess. They frequently sneak out of the city illegally to trade with other survivors. The two set out to look for local arms dealer Robert, who has stolen guns from them, but Robert confesses that he has sold guns to the Fireflies. Tess kills him before they encounter Marlene, the head of the Fireflies, who agrees to return the guns only if they help her to smuggle something out of the city. It is revealed that the thing they will be smuggling is a young girl, Ellie. The three set off for the captured building, where other Fireflies will be waiting at to receive Ellie. Before they get far, however, two patrolling military members ambush them and scan them for brain infection. Ellie panics, stabbing the soldier with her switchblade, and immediately kills them both. It is revealed that Ellie is infected, but she claims that her body is 3 weeks old, as everyone turns within 2 days of being exposed to the fungus. She explained that Marlene believes that what happened to her may be the key to finding a cure. Though Joe is reluctant, Tess believes her saying and agrees to finish the job off. The three fight their way through numerous infected to the Capitol building, only to find that the Fireflies that were supposed to meet them are slaughtered. Joe proposes they return home, but Tess reveals that she has been bitten on their way and begs Joe to bring Ellie to Tommy, who used to be part of Marlene's group and may have an idea of how to bring Ellie to the Fireflies. Tess stays behind alone to cover them against the approaching soldiers, as Joe reluctantly flees with Ellie. Joe visits an acquaintance that owes him a favor and asks him to provide a car for them. Their ride is cut short, however, as they are ambushed and attacked by a group of bandits in Pittsburgh, forcing them to abandon the pickup truck and escape on foot. Within the bandit city, they meet a pair of brothers, Sam and Henry, who are also trying to escape, and they agree to work together. Though they are separated when running away from the pursuing bandits, the four reunites again on a riverbank after Joe and Ellie drop off the bridge. In the suburbs, they are attacked by another group of bandits, including a sniper. Joe manages to take them out, but the noise attracts hordes of infected, causing them to flee. They then reach the hideout and spend the night indoors. However, when they all wake up and Henry is making breakfast the next morning, Ellie is attacked by Sam, who has been infected in their latest encounter and has turned overnight. Henry shot Sam, but in a state of grief, he ultimately commits suicide as well. Joe and Ellie continue their journey to find Tommy, and they soon reach a closed gate of a dam, which is guarded by several armed people. As the woman interrogates them, Tommy recognizes Joe and opens the gates for him. He introduces the woman as his wife, Maria. Then they head inside. Joe tells Tommy about Ellie and her unique condition. He proposes that Tommy help finish the job. Their conversation is interrupted by a pack of bandits. Joe and Tommy fight their way back to Maria and Ellie. Though Tommy agrees to deliver Ellie to the Fireflies on Joe's behalf, his wife, Maria, appears distraught and against their plan. Ellie, hearing their plan, steals a horse and runs away. Joe and Tommy find Ellie in an abandoned ranch house, and on their way back, Joe decides to continue the journey with Ellie himself. Together, they head for the University of Eastern Colorado, as Tommy told them the Fireflies lab is located there. As they search the school buildings for the lab, they find the school has been abandoned for quite some time. When they finally find a recorder beside a dead Firefly man, which tells them of the current whereabouts of the Fireflies, They are spotted by another group of bandits that start to attack them. Joe is pushed over a railing by one of the attackers and is impaled through the stomach with a metal beam, which leaves him severely wounded and struggling to walk. Ellie fends off anyone who gets in their way, and the two eventually escape to the halls outside. Ellie is out hunting in the snow and follows the blood trail to an abandoned shack, where the deer finally succumbs to its wounds. She is then approached by two men, Davy and James, who offer to trade supplies with her in exchange for deer. Ellie asks them for some antibiotics. James leaves to retrieve it as Davy stays with her, waiting in a nearby house. Before long, they hear infected approaching. Davy and Ellie work together to fight them off. After they are safe again, Davy reveals that the group of men who attacked Joe and her at the university were part of his men. Sensing that she is in trouble, Ellie finds herself outnumbered, as James has returned with the antibiotics. Davy tells James to give her the medicine and let her go, after which Ellie flees back to the garage where Joe is resting, still very weak and ill. She gives him the antibiotics and falls asleep next to him. When she wakes up, she discovers that Davy's man has tracked her down, and she has no choice but to draw them away from Joe. Though she avoids them for the most part, Davy catches up to her and knocks her unconscious. Ellie wakes up in a cage and sees James butchering a human body, which frightens her. Davy approaches her, claiming that he can convince the other to keep her alive. However, Ellie does not trust him and breaks his finger in an attempt to grab the keys. Meanwhile, Joe finally wakes up and notices Ellie is missing. He desperately looks for her, killing the rest of the men that has tracked Ellie back to their place. He captures two of them and tortures them until they tell them the location of Davy, then kills them both, setting out for Ellie. Davy and James holds Ellie up to the butcher table. Before Davy could throw the butcher knife down to her, Ellie reveals that she is infected. As they stand shocked, she grabs the butcher knife, kills James, and runs away. As she navigates around town and tries to find her way out, she ends up in a restaurant where Davy has her trapped. The restaurant catches fire as Ellie sneaks around, trying to stab Davy with her switchblade before he catches her. They fight for a while before Davy gains the upper hand and tries to strangle Ellie on the ground. Ellie finally grabs a knife and violently hacks Davy to death with it until she is stopped by Joe. Several months later, Joe spots the hospital mentioned in the Firefly recorder and makes his way there with Ellie. They discover a group of giraffes roaming in a deserted city. Joe realizes they have the option to simply leave all they set out to do behind and return to Tommy's dam to live out a simpler life. But when he brings this up to Ellie, she is determined to see their mission through. They make their way into an underground tunnel, much of which has been flooded. Joe reaches an area with a loose platform and falls off and into a broken down bus, where he becomes trapped. As Ellie breaks through a bus window to try and get him out, he is knocked into the water. Joe escapes through the window and drags Ellie out, who is now unconscious. As he frantically tries to resuscitate her, a Firefly patrol approaches them, ordering him to put his hands in the air. As Joe ignores them in a state of panic, he is knocked out by one of the Fireflies. Joe wakes up in a hospital bed with Marlene by his side. She welcomes him to the Fireflies and reassures him that they have rescued Ellie as well. When he asks to see her, she reveals that they are already preparing her for surgery to remove the mutated infection within her and reverse engineer a vaccine from it. Joe realizes that the infection grows all over the brain, which means Ellie will have to die. He demands that they find someone else, but is knocked to the ground. As he is escorted out, Joe quickly attacks the soldier and learns where Ellie is. Then he fights his way to the operating room alone, where a surgeon and assistants stand around Ellie, who is not awake. Joe removes Ellie from the operating table, carries her out of the room, and eventually manages to reach an elevator just in time, escaping the pursuing soldiers. However, when he walks out of the elevator, he is stopped by Marlene with her gun trained on Joe. She makes a final attempt to change his mind. As she lowers her guard, Joe suddenly shoots her with a gun, misses Ellie, and escapes. When Ellie wakes up, she finds herself in the back seat, and Joe is driving them back. She asks Joe about what happened in the hospital, and Joe lies to her that Firefly has other immune survivors and does not need her for a vaccine anymore. In 2034, in Jackson, Gerald Miller confesses to his brother Tommy that he killed Marlene and destroyed Firefly's main base in Salt Lake City to prevent them killing Ellie to create a vaccine for the cordyceps brain infection. While shocked at the news, Tommy forgives his brother for the destruction of his former group. That night, Gerald visits Ellie and gives her a guitar, intent on cementing the surrogate father-daughter relationship and starting their new life together. By March 2038, Joe and Ellie still live in relative peace in Jackson, but have grown apart as Ellie discovered Joe's secret about his action at St. Mary's Hospital and the killing of the head surgeon, Jerry Anderson. While on patrol, Joe and Tommy save a stranger, Abby Anderson, from an infected horde. She escapes a snowstorm, then flee on horseback to the Baldwin Lodge, where Abby's group are staying. Once inside, the group reveal themselves as former Fireflies, now based with the Washington Liberation Front. Abby reveals herself as Jerry's daughter, and desires revenge for what Joe did to him and the Fireflies to save Ellie. The group attacks Joe and Tommy, knocking Tommy out, and Abby proceeds to torture Joe. Elsewhere, Ellie, her girlfriend Dina, and friend Jesse leave Jackson to find the brothers. Hours later, Ellie reaches the lodge, only for Nick and Nora to restrain her and make her watch as Abby kills Joe. Ellie swears to kill them all for their actions, then is knocked out. Jesse and Dina later rescue her and Tommy and return Joe's body to Jackson, where he is buried. The next day, Tommy sets out for Seattle to hunt Abby, and Ellie and Dina follow him. By April, the pair reach the city and fight their way through the WLF, with Ellie killing one of Abby's friends, Jordan, and finding Tommy has already tortured and killed Nick. Following Tommy's trail, they also locate Leah, killed hours earlier by Seraphites, and they loot her corpse for information on Abby and her remaining friends. Soon after, the duo escape an infected horde, during which Ellie breaks her mask. Once at a shelter in the deserted Pinnacle Theater, Ellie reveals she is immune to the CBI, while Dina reveals she is pregnant. They rest for the night, during which Ellie plays a guitar and thinks back to her 15th birthday with Gerald. The next day, Dina repairs an old Federal radio and uses it to track sightings by the WLF of a trespasser in Hillcrest. Assuming it is Tommy, Ellie goes there to help him. However, on arriving, she finds Jesse. The pair fight their way back to the theater, where Ellie has Jesse protect the weak Dina, while she pursues the lead that Nora is at the Lake Hill Seattle Hospital. On the way, Ellie encounters the Seraphites and fights through a stalker-infested apartment complex. Once at the hospital, Ellie corners Nora in the basement and tortures her to reveal Abby's hideout at the aquarium. However, the incident leaves Ellie traumatized and regretful of what she's doing to avenge Joe. The following morning, Jesse convinces Ellie they need to get Tommy to the theater and leave Seattle behind, stating he does not want to risk Dina's life further, who has grown sick. Ellie agrees, but while looking for Tommy, Ellie breaks off from Jesse to continue her pursuit of Abby. She reaches the aquarium, where she finds two more of Abby's friends, Alwyn and Mel. She attempts to interrogate them, but is attacked, leading to a brawl that ends in Ellie killing the pair, leading her to break down from the stress of actions. However, Tommy then arrives with Jesse, the pair convincing her to leave with them, but they leave her map behind. After killing Joe, Abby fights on the front lines with Maddie and Mel. who both worry Abby's action in Jackson has not cleared her conscience as she wanted. Later that day, Abby and Manning visited WLF's leader, Isaac Dixon, at the forward operating base, who reveals he wants the pair to lead WLF forces in an all-out attack on a Seraphite island. However, Abby refuses, having heard from Nora that Owen has been ostracized from the WLF for refusing to kill an old Seraphite. Isaac does not relent, leading Abby to flee the base to find Owen. On the way, a Seraphite patrol ambushes and captures her, Abby escaping with the help of Lev and Yara, two Seraphites branded apostates because Lev refused to follow the traditions. Despite Yara breaking her arms in escape, Abby leaves them at an abandoned office trailer. She reaches a private hideout at Aquarium, where she finds a drunk Owen speaking of a desire to find a rumored Firefly encampment in Santa Barbara. By morning, Abby is plagued by nightmares, leading her to return to the trailer to save Lev and Yara from pursuing Seraphites. She brings them back to the Aquarium, where Alice and Mel have arrived, also looking for Owen. Abby has Mel assess Yara's arm, concluding it needs to be amputated. Abby takes Lev out into the city to retrieve supplies from the Lake Hill Seattle hospital. After fighting through an infected-filled hotel, the pair reach the hospital. Abby works in, using her rank to get access, but is soon apprehended as Isaac has put an order to capture her. Nora helps Abby escape and leads her to the basement, where supplies are still found. Abby collects the medical supplies after killing the Rat King infected living there, and leaves the hospital with Lev. That night, Mel operates on Yara, removing her arm and saving her life. By the morning, Lev flees from the Aquarium to go back to his mother at the Seraphite island. Yara, knowing their mother will kill Lev for having broken Seraphite traditions, convinces Abby to go to the island with her to rescue him. On the way, Abby meets Manning again at the arena and helps him advance on a sniper who killed his team. They corner the sniper in a dinner, only for the sniper, who is actually Tommy, to surprise attack them. In a struggle, Manning is shot dead, and Tommy nearly succeeds in killing Abby, but Yara saves her. Assuming Tommy drowned in a pyre, Abby and Yara push on to the island. They reach the island shortly before the WLF, led by Isaac, launch their invasion. Fighting through the Seraphites, the pair found Lev at the sibling's house, who killed his mother in self-defense. The group sneak back through the island, across Isaac's WLF team. Yara kills Isaac, sacrificing herself so Lev and Abby can escape. The duo steal a horse and ride through the WLF and Seraphites battle in Haven. They steal a boat and flee, leaving the two factions to kill each other. Back at the Aquarium, Abby and Lev find Alice, Mel, and Owen have all been killed. Lev finds a map, which reveals the killer's location. Following it, they head to the Pinnacle Theater and break in through the upper levels. Abby sneaks downstairs to find Tommy back towards her in the main hall. She trains her gun on him and beats him to the floor. In a standoff, Jesse is killed and Tommy is taken hostage. Ellie begs Abby to let Tommy live in exchange for her life. Abby, enraged that Ellie and Tommy killed her friends, aims her gun at Ellie, but Tommy intervenes. Abby and Lev overpower and wound him. Ellie flees backstage, where Abby pursues her. They brawl, with the fight ending with Abby successfully defeating Ellie and Dina. Abby prepares to kill Dina, but Lev convinces her not to. Then she leaves Ellie alive, warning her to never cross her again. 1 year later, Ellie and Dina return to Jackson, now living on a farm with Dina's son. However, Ellie still suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder brought on by Joe's death and the events on Seattle. After Tommy gives her a lead that Abby and Lev move to Santa Barbara, Ellie abandons her life with Dina to hunt and kill Abby again. In Santa Barbara, Abby and Lev are attempting to find the Fireflies. They locate a radio station and learn the group have moved to Catalina Island. However, as they attempt to reach it, a slave-owning group known as the Rattlers capture and torture them over several weeks, culminating in a pair attempting to escape but failing. Ellie arrives in Santa Barbara and finds the Rattlers' base. She breaks in, freeing the prisoners, and learns Abby and Lev have been strung up on a beach to die. She finds them there and frees them. Knowing they are weak from the months of tortures, She threatens to kill Lev if Abby doesn't fight her. Abby agrees. They fight in the water, with Abby biting Ellie's fingers off her. Ellie eventually pins Abby under the water, but refuses to kill her after realizing killing Abby will not bring Joel back to her. She lets Abby and Lev flee while she returns to the farm, only to find that Dina has left.